So while I am waiting for the special events in Genshin to kind of play through, because I just don't feel like listening to all the poetry talk, there's too many numbers, it sounds too much like math, I'm going to work on my Halloween costume. I have this, what is it called? Rich Kid with two D's. Chocolate. Colored like leather of sorts. And I want to make it into a hat. So I'm going to use this sun hat that I have as a sort of reference point because I like the width of this brim. And I'll essentially do like a witch hat or a peasant hat and give it a longer tip. So yeah, let's try that. As per usual, my cats are checking out my crafting space. Please ignore the fact that I am a floor troll. It is just better that way.
In essence, it's just like most other forms of poetry. To fool your imaginations and allow hints of inspiration to fill your sails, we've added an additional component, inspiration walk. By inspiration walk, we simply mean wandering around in the wild, taking in the scenery and pondering any thoughted thoughts. Of course, to all our friends out in the north, while out and about, Longshan's Hero Parlor is already fully booked for the month ahead. And if there's any more demand, you'll be the only one with a smile on my face. In short, please roll through its milkshakes, enjoy the spectacular scenery of the two beautiful nations, and fill your imaginations with the most pleasing of poetry. We will all reconvene here tonight.
Okay, so the machine stitching didn't actually work. I ended up having to go in through doing this by hand. So this little bit is a fold over. It was like the extra, I guess, like you would call a hem, and I went on ahead and sewed that down. So even though I didn't get to use the machine, it might have turned out for good because I ended up having this curve by doing it that way. Also because of just how thick this material is, I think it's just going to give it this natural curve. So if I turn it inside out, we are hoping... Sorry, my camera angle is not particularly good, but if we turn this right side out, it gives us an almost perfect point. And it's very faint, but there is this slight curve to it. So that actually kind of worked out for good. Here, let me... You see what I mean? It's got just the slight curve, which I'm hoping this works. Something else that was not planned, but it looks like it's going to work out for good, is with me making those extra insecure lines, I have a, what I'm calling like a cut line. So like following this, I'm going to go through and like snip different parts when I go to connect the point to the rim of the hat. However, that will definitely be a tomorrow thing because it is 10:30 at night and I need to sleep. you will notice that I have a couple straight edges here, 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 in a couple different spots. So to sort of stitch it into submission, I am going around and I am doing like a T section, which means I'm taking the needle and thread, I'm going across, and then when it's under, I'm coming back over to make a T. So I'll try to show you how I do that in a second. Okay, so I have gone around the rim, as you can see, and I did my T stitches all the way around. So now I'm getting ready to put the top through the hole. However, if I just try to stand it up, it's a little short because I need to go through and cut, and I've already made lines where I want to make my cuts so it'll spread out and I can stitch it to the hat. Alright, I knew this was going to go too easy for me. So this is an upholstery leather, which means it's kind of stiff. So to make sure I put the cone of the hat next to the rim, I cut slots into some of the pieces so that way it doesn't try to tear as I put it on. However, because I did this double thing for the brim, it took me hours to figure out how I was going to attach the cone to the brim. So what I'm going to do is section by section, if I can hold the camera still. As you can see, I've got this just kind of clamped into place, and I'm just going to hand stitch again all the way around to put the cone to this top portion of the brim. So yeah, I got my work cut out for me. So you can see here that I've gotten mostly all the way around, and then I come to this little portion here. Why this isn't a problem necessarily, because I have so much overlap, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my circle scraps from earlier and I'm going to add it to the front so it'll help boost the hat and it will help tip the point farther back. So I have to go through and undo all of those stitches. Yay me. Alright, I have stitched like this crescent moon bit, which I might have to go back. It looks like I missed a small area. But the point is, so you see, no you don't. You see this, now you do. The whole point of that is to give me, and I still did it wrong, it's this side. So this little extra, I guess, lip is what I'm going to call it, is going to help tilt the point into more of a curve for me. So that way it'll look better when it's together, I hope. So it'll have like a natural curve to it rather than straight up and down, because that's not my thing. But, okay, a little bit more hand stitching for me, and then I'm going to take a break. And after, I'll say probably about 18 hours of sewing, it is complete. This was all hand sewn. This was made with upholstery fabric. Would love a do-over, since, you know, you gotta guinea pig the first one at every turn, but all things considered, she did not turn out so bad. Just trying to show you the inside. I was going to add a sweatband / that ribbon that they always put like on the inside. However, every time I tried to do it, it just was not coming out straight, and because this upholstery is already so tight and not very flexible, I figured it was probably better to go ahead and forego it, especially since this is more for costume and not everyday wear. But I am very, very, very proud of her. Part of me wants to call her McGonagall, but she's not a McGonagall hat. Maybe in her youth, but definitely not nowadays. But yeah, this is my hat and part one of my costume making for this year, so I am very happy with this.